All right, welcome to the track guys here. Oh, my screen's not showing it. There we go. So practice sessions, the track guys are all going to be under the Thursday session. So click on there and do test drive. Weather for the race, it is April 10th. The session starts at 4 a.m., but there's times 2 and it's 3 times 6. So it's going to be kind of afternoonish. So the temperature is just going to keep getting hotter and hotter and hotter. As you can tell here, uh, qualifying roughly about 26 degrees Celsius, but then it's just going to keep climbing. The race starts here 11 a.m. And it's going to keep going till about here 5 p.m. So you can see here temperature is just going to get hotter during the race, and we're not going to really have any relief. Southern California, I guess it's hot at this time of year. Precipitation stuff, there's none. It's going to be pretty, well, it is 100% dry. There's a bit of cloud cover, but really not much. So yeah, expect a hot race. And then again, once you come into your session here, view session, you click on this little arrow, test drive, and then you get to choose whatever car you want to run. So this is going to be the track guide for the McLaren. This is in GT4 class. I haven't used a McLaren yet, so this is going to be the last car of the series. So we've got lap times started getting progressively quicker. 125.9 felt really decent to me, so I went with that one. So we're gonna play it at full speed, and then we'll slow down and talk about it a bit. So there you go, 25.9. First thing I want to say is, let's get back to this lap here. First thing I want to say is, if you haven't watched the GR86 or the BMW track guide, please just give it a quick look. Watch the braking markers. It gives you a good idea of kind of where you might want to pass and where you might not want to pass, or where those cars are potentially quick or where they're not quick. But for the GT4, we're going to fast forward here. Obviously, you're going to want to hold the line against the wall. Obviously, the straightaway is a perfect place to pass any class because you guys will be much faster. Be aware, braking zones. So BMW are kind of similar to what you guys are doing. The GR86 is closer to the 400 mark, and they are quite fast through the next sector. So all the way out of the swimming pool, and then till you get kind of the back stretch there, the one that's coming towards us right now before you turn left. Uh, they are quite quick through the whole section, so you won't lose much time behind a GR86. The BMW is a different scenario. They are struggling through quite a few of these corners. The GR86 is actually only my fastest laps were 1.8 seconds slower than the BMW, so they're not that different overall. The GR86 is rapid through the tight sections, and then the BMW's got obviously a little more straight line speed. But for a push lap for the GT4 here, we're going to be looking just before the 500. And what we want to do is put 2 tires to the right of this red line and 2 tires to the left of it. You want to put that red line kind of in the middle of your car. Um, be careful if you go too far to the right, you will get a slowdown. And obviously, if there's cars coming out of the pit lane, you're going to want to be a little extra cautious because they have a weird turn in at the end of it. So yeah, just give them a little bit extra space here. But we're going to slow it down. Here's the 500 board. Boom, we're starting to get on the brakes here and off the throttle. There's the 500. Trying to stay off the ABS so I'm not going too aggressive on the brakes. For the McLaren, I'm going down into third, and what I want to do is I want to just touch the curbs here. I want to stay on this flat section. I don't want to go up on the raised section. Kind of apex that, out to the wall. So BMWs are going to be a little bit painful through this sector, so hopefully you've gotten by them. Remember, you have to have car overlap in order to make it a pass legible. If you don't have any overlap and somebody reports you, you are facing a minor penalty pretty easily. Um, so yeah, once you're if you're in behind a GR86, honestly, they're probably a little bit quicker through you than a section, so that shouldn't be too painful. BMW, you guys are gonna have to be careful. They are quite sketchy, and they might be a little bit slow. But I really don't recommend trying to pass any car through this kind of little sector here. Um, it is quite sketchy. If you're already side by side going into the corner, which is also I don't really recommend. But if you are, then obviously you just have to give each other room because this corner goes right and then it sharpens left. So you guys have to be very careful and pay attention to that. But for quality mode, push lap, you're kind of just going past this Acura sign here on the right. Once you get to the kind of the Firestone, I'm kind of thinking about starting to brake a little bit here. So you can see on the brakes, again, trying to stay out of the ABS, down to second gear for the McLaren, and I want to jump pretty much right into the fountain here. I'm getting right over these curbs, pretty much right to this raised portion here. Sometimes I even tuck a little bit of tires into the grass, just a little bit. Helps me rotate the car a little bit, and then I'll try to aim straight for this corner without hitting the corner, and then down the little straightaway here. If you are behind a BMW, you might be able to make an overtake down this little straightaway here. Pop out to the right and get some car overlap, and that should make you clear, or at least side by side before the next corner. GR86s, I don't know if you're going to be able to get by them. There's a potential, but it depends on the driver. But if the quick drivers probably will be able to maintain coming out of the corner, they're pretty quick, so they'll probably be able to stay in front of you. But quali lap, we are going to look for this white line that comes across the track. I kind of use that as a braking reference. You can see I'm getting off the throttle, light on the brakes, nothing too aggressive. Again, I want to get my two right tires onto this flat portion, a little bit onto the raised portion, just to give myself a little bit of rotation coming out of the corner. So you can see here, I just pop it a little bit. That gives me a little bit of rotation. The wheel slides out all the way to the left of the wall here. I really doubt you'll be able to make any passes through this sector unless you guys are already side by side. Um, but maybe a BMW can maybe get by them, depending on what their traction is like coming out of the last corner. GR86s, again, I think are going to be too quick through this sector to really. I mean, it depends on the driver. Some drivers are a little bit slower, but I don't. I think it might be worth kind of sitting behind them, especially this is a tricky track and the walls are closed. So um, kind of save yourself for the end of the race. But quali, there's a painted wall here that's much brighter than the other ones. I kind of use that a bit of a lift spot and brake in. You'll see here off throttle, again, not too aggressive on the brakes. And I like turning in fairly early for this corner. If you turn in too early, you're going to get an off track, so you got to keep your left tires a bit on these curbs here. But you can cut this corner quite aggressively. There is a slowdown, so you're going to have to test how far you can cut it for yourself. But I like an early turn in here. That gets me settled because obviously you can see the track crowns here. So it comes up at this point, and then at the apex, it drops back off. So as soon as you come across this, it just wants to spit you off into the wall. So if you turn in early and you kind of get your front end turned early enough, you'll end up kind of where these tire marks are instead of in this barrier here. And you can kind of just judge how far you are close to the wall. But I find it's much easier to get the exit right if you turn in earlier for this corner. You can see here, already on throttle, dipping off the throttle when I get off the curbs, and then 100% back on throttle, and I'm just going to slide my car out all the way out to the wall, and then down the straightaway we go. Obviously, straightaway, very easy to pass BMWs, GRD6s, everybody. This is a perfect opportunity to get by some of the slower traffic. Keep in mind, GRD6s are breaking around the 200 mark. We are breaking around the 300 mark, same with the BMW M2s. So if you're going to make a pass, make sure you have some overlap with them, or you've pointed your, well, yeah, you have to have some overlap with them before your break-in zone, because they do break a lot later. One thing to note is this break-in zone starts turning left. So if you start breaking towards the wall and there's a car beside you, you need to be able to give them enough room. So you're gonna have to start braking more towards the left. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. So let's get into where our braking marker is. There's a 300. I'm going slightly afterwards. Hard on the brake, and I like to position my car. You can see where this wall comes out. All of a sudden, it starts going back the other way. So I like to straight line brake as I'm kind of arcing right where this wall kind of starts moving this way, so that I can use this extra space here to carve into the corner. So you see here, I'm braking towards this spot here. As soon as this opens up, that's when I'm going to start turning in. I like turning in a little bit earlier for this one. For whatever reason, it just seems to work better when you get an early turn in. I find late turn ins, you end up pushing out. And then I try not to go too far to the right, but I'm trying to keep the momentum up as much as possible. So you'll see in the GRD6 video, because the car's got a lot of grip, I don't even go past this red line. I kind of stay to the left of this red line and then track back over. The BMW M2 here is extremely tricky. There's a lot of bumps, and with the road going up and then down again, it slides quite a bit. So be aware that the BMW is going to use a lot of space here, and you guys will have better traction coming out of the corner, most likely. So you can definitely get a pass done on them. Just be aware that they might be sliding a little bit all over the place. GRD6s are pretty quick through the sector, but you got more speed. You can probably you could probably get overlap on the GRD6 in front of you and make a pass into the next corner. I don't really want to go all the way to the wall because I find it just kills lap time. So I come just over the red line here, and then I start merging back over to the left. And I like pointing myself between the 3 and the 2. GRD6s are braking pretty much right at the 2, and we're a little bit more past the 3. So be aware of that when you're doing your overtakes with car overlap. For a quali, we are looking here. There's a 300. You can see I'm starting to apply, so I'm closer to just after the 300 mark here. Onto the brakes. Again, nothing too aggressive. I don't want to get into the ABS. As I start turning in, you'll see the trail braking starting to trail off. Again, I want to cut this corner as much as possible, so I'm going to get as close to the wall as possible, and I tend to want to get on the throttle before the corner, and then all the way out to the wall. Obviously, there's a big long straightaway here. Great opportunity to pass all classes. Brake markers. So GRD6 is close to the 300. BMW between the 5 and 4, pretty much the same as what we're doing here. You can see I'm already starting to get up on the brakes a little bit past the 500 board. One thing to note is this wall all of a sudden opens up here. So what I like to do is I don't want to get too close to the wall early. I like to stay a little bit further to the right, and then I use it to like diagonally break across into this opening so that I can get an extra foot of track that opens up the corner. I can carry a little bit more speed going through that sector. So you'll see here, onto the brakes, off the throttle, and I'm going towards this opening here, right here. I'm going as far over as possible, and then I'm going to start turning in, third gear with the McLaren. I like to try to get my right tires onto these harder curbs. It allows the car to rotate a little bit better, which is kind of what you want. You can see a little bit of trail braking still going on. BMW is pretty slidey through this sector. This isn't a really good sector to make an overtake, really. GRD6s are pretty rapid through here, so I think you guys can be patient around them. BMWs, I mean, if you have some overlap before the break or in the braking zone there, definitely make the pass. because they are quite sketchy through this sector. So be aware of that. I don't like going all the way to the left. I like staying to at least a car or two's width on the left here, because then I can come right and open up this next corner. So you'll see here I point out, then start turning in. And again, I like having my tires on the curb. It just allows me to drift out a little bit, kind of rotate the car. This sector here, it's definitely kind of one car only. On the rare occasion when somebody makes a big mistake, you can make an overtake here, but pay special attention to if you're diving in shallow to try to make a lunge down the inside here, you're most likely not going to be able to make the corner and you're going to end up in the wall. And then it's just going to be a parking lot. Nobody's going to be able to get by and it's just going to create a lot of issues. So you want to finish the race in a decent position, I highly suggest being patient here. Just get in behind the car in front of you and try to open it up the corner so you get a better exit. Don't try to overtake on the inside or on the entry to the corner. Try to overtake on the outside of the corner, on the exit of the corner for this hairpin, because we've all seen it way too many times where cars just end up against the wall and it's a huge parking lot. So yeah, we do have one competition yellow, but there's no other yellows. So if there's a parking lot, you're gonna have to wait until everybody figures it all out. So yeah, don't be the reason somebody has to ruin the race. Stay behind a car and try to get a better exit. For the McLaren here, we are looking. I'm starting to get off the throttle, kind of like midway. So I'm just kind of not full on throttle, and then all of a sudden I'll come right off, get the rear end to kind of skid out onto the brakes. I go down to second gear with the McLaren. I almost park it right on the apex. So you can see I'm still trail braking. And then right kind of here, I'm really not going very fast, under 39 kilometers an hour. And then second gear, I'll ramp it right up, try to go as fast as possible to get the best launch out of the exit. One thing I did notice or say in the other ones, track guys, is the driver chat is going to be enabled for this race. And the reason why is because this pit lane entry is quite sketchy. It is a very small entry and is on the exit of the corner. So if you are lining up a great overtake for the car coming out of the corner, so if you've got a really good exit and you're along the inside of a car, and all of a sudden they want to pit, they're going to be turning right into you. So the reason why I'm enabling the driver's chat is because of if you're going to pit and there's cars nearby, I really want people to announce it on the radio. Let's say car 207, pit in this time by. That way, nobody tries to get to your inside. And when you come out of the corner, I really hope that if you're coming to the pits, don't go all the way out to the wall. Kind of stay more to the right so that you're protecting your pit entry. Because pit entry is right here, and if you're along the wall and there's somebody on your inside and you turn in, obviously that's going to be your fault, and you're going to get a penalty for it. So if you are going to pit in, uh, one, make the announcement that you're going to be pitting in, and two, try to protect the exit of the corner so that you are the car closest to the inside wall, so that you can make your pit entry safely. So that is the track guide for the GT4. Again, 125.926. Felt pretty good. I think my splits are pretty similar. Yeah, 125.795. That's quickly done. So you could probably get into the mid to low 25s for the top guys, uh, especially with lower fuels and stuff. So hopefully this helps out, and good luck for the race.